Hi, again. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for your patience. I understand that you were asked to be here at 7 o'clock, so.
Not a problem.
So
Welcome to
welcome
municipal government.
to, yeah,
There you
right,
go.
exactly.
Well,
This is a great
welcome.
introduction.
This is what we
So
get.
we're going to start off. I'm going to ask a couple questions, and then I'll open it up to my co-counselors to ask you some questions. So first off, we're curious what interests you about this position and about working for municipal government.
Yeah, so I was actually born and raised in the town of Framingham.
You might want to move the microphone a little closer to you.
So we can all hear you, plus TV land.
Yep, right. So I actually was born and raised in the town of Framingham. So this community is home to me. I don't currently live in the town of Framingham now, but it really is, it would be an incredible opportunity to be able to bring my expertise in financial analysis to this community. In my previous role as a analyst, I did a lot of budgeting, forecasting, did a lot of ad hoc reporting, meaning I was creating reports and also creating financial models as well. So I feel like the experience that I gained from working at such a large telecommunications company, I could bring that to this community as well.
Thank you. And I was remiss in not stating your name for the record, so I apologize for that. Nicholas Lima, no, that's my bad, not yours. So thank you.
Yep.
Apologies. So in terms of learning the scope and the details of the city's operations and the services, how would you go about doing that so that when you're analyzing the budgetary information, you have some context for it?
Yeah, so I actually have been doing some homework, and I've been reviewing some of the older town meetings. So that is one way that I would begin to learn about what's going on in our city and use that information to be able to do my job.
Thank you. And as we discussed in your initial interview, you would be reporting to the City Council and to the Finance Subcommittee, which is unique because most of the folks in this building report directly to the mayor. So what approaches would you use to get information and establish positive working relationships with folks and gain the trust of the other city employees?
Absolutely. So in my previous position, I did a lot of budgeting and forecasting for the entire region. Specifically, my position, I was in contact with different departments, meaning construction, HR. I was in contact with our engineering team. So gathering information wasn't always easy. A lot of people have different ways of thinking or have different ways of providing me with the information that I needed. And I really had to break it down to these specific departments in various ways so that they would be able to understand the why I was asking for this information and the reason why I would I'd be asking for this information and being able to gather it.
Thank you. And once gathered that information, how would you communicate that information to city councilors, both as individuals and then as a collective, so that we would be able to learn from what you were doing?
Absolutely. So one of the methods that I definitely utilized was presenting it in more of like a picture format, in more of a visual format, where you can see the bigger picture. Obviously, just showing somebody a picture isn't going to do it. So being able to drill down on what specifics are included in that visual. It's, you know, I always worked with different departments. So my construction team, they weren't very much Excel people. My engineering team kind of understood more of what I was, talking about in terms of my Excel spreadsheets and my reporting. So, everybody thinks differently. Everybody understands information differently. And my goal would be to be able to provide that information to each and every one of you in a way that is clear, concise, and you'd be able to understand it.
Thank you. So my final question, and then I'll open it up to my co-counselors, is what do you imagine your steepest learning curve would be in this position, and how can we, as your supervisors, support you with that?
I believe my steepest learning curve would be Munis, but that is just another software. When in my previous position, I worked in various different softwares, including Tableau, SAP ERP. We had our own Prism. It was called Prism, but it was essentially a construction software that we used, a database. So I honestly think that that would be my steepest learning curve in terms of reporting and analyzing and financial modeling. Munis would be my steepest learning curve.